Hey, hey, hey. Once again, this is Mary at Mary Unapologetic. I am so glad that I am actually making it happen today. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and turn down my intro so that way we can start. Let's see here. Can you actually believe it? I'm actually on time today. You know why? Because I left work early and and with that I'm like, okay, I just got to do my podcast. It's probably going to be really folks a 30 minutes or maybe 45 minutes podcast. I don't have any special guests today. It is just me. I thought the reason why I'm going to cover this topic today is because I want to help folks out there who actually have a PDR company, small business or a body shop, some kind of tips or pointers of what they actually need to know as far as dealing with auto insurance. Now, why do I want to cover this topic today? Whew, hold on, folks. Let me just get a drink because it's hot here in California. I need to cool off. actually, um, I actually want to cover this topic is because I've seen or heard a lot of people that complain about, when they deal with auto insurance, or even actually if you're in the healthcare profession, you don't hear it so much, but it's always on the back end. And the reason why I know about it is because I used to work for quality assurance, actually QA management, which is well, it's not QA management, it's quality management. Basically, what we did was to make sure that those um, visits, it's like an office visit or even hospital visit. This is when I used to work, by the way, at the hospital. Sometime like what 20 to 22 years ago. um, I did have experience working with insurance companies as far as getting authorization approved or getting pre-authorized for certain office visit or even hospital visit. So I'm familiar with, how you can get your claim qualified or even get it going. So what this topic today is going to be about, for coming from my experience and from my knowledge as far as insurance companies and dealing with them, over the years, gave me some insight and experience and learn how to talk to them in their lingo. Really, this topic is about tips on how to talk to insurance companies. Now, folks, it doesn't matter if it's, auto insurance or healthcare insurance. They kind of have the same, I wouldn't say the same process, but they have they're kind of the same, I mean, it's not business model either. I guess what I want to say is that they're kind of almost the same. I wouldn't say exactly the same, but the way they does their work as far as qualifications. Like, I mean, if you think about it, you know, um, pre-authorization. I'm going to give you guys an example of my experience this week as far as pre-authorization. Before I actually get into my tips, let me just start with this, okay? Bear with me. Let me look at this actually. I'm going to let you know how many tips because I made some notes so that way I don't forget, folks. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 tips that I want to talk about tonight. And hopefully we can get this done in 30 minutes so that way I can relax because I do need to relax due to that. Yesterday was a hectic day for me. I was dealing with some problems with our machine, merchant services. We got kicked out of our machine because of some security issue and I had to deal with it. So it took me kind of the whole day. I think this would be a podcast that I will cover in the future because I think it's important for, people in my, in our PDR industry as well as business industry on how to deal with something like this if it ever happened to you guys. As far as merchants service, we actually use Square, and they take their security seriously. So I'll share that with you on another topic. But what I'm covering today is auto insurance, okay, specifically, by the way. So I'm going to go to the story about pre authorization. I actually had uh, um, an invoice, and it's an open invoice since 2021. Mike took the call, sent our technician there. We did the repair. We didn't get paid. Luckily, it's only 175. And I thought it was the regular insurance company that we normally deal with. And so I finally had a chance to put some time into this open invoice and call the insurance company, and come to find out they're not the one who sent the customer to us. It was another company. So what I ended up doing is like, I'm like, okay, it's like trying to find a needle in the haystack. So luckily the customer's information is on the invoice. I called her, she talked to me, and then she gave me the insurance company's information. It's actually not an insurance company that I normally work with. It's another insurance. So when I ended up calling that insurance, because I didn't want to have the clients to deal with the hassle, since it's still, basically the work was done, and it was like sometime in September or October of last year. And I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for her. So I figured I'll just do the call to the insurance. And that's exactly what I did. And so what I actually found out, that talking with one of their claim adjuster, she told me that the client actually started a profile but didn't finish it. And because she didn't finish it, they're aware it didn't get paid, because it would have notification or documentation whether it got paid or not. But because she didn't finish um, the creating the profile, they just closed the account. So now we're backtracking. And then she also told me, the insurance company, by the way, the claim adjuster, she said, Mary, because I explained to her, you know what? Service is rendered. We need to get paid. That's the right thing to do, right? But then she told me, she said, Mary, this needs pre authorization. And since the customer or their client didn't finish the creating her profile, and also didn't follow the procedure or the protocol of getting pre-authorized before booking the appointment with us, then I think she's kind of giving me a hint that I'm not going to get paid, because now I'm actually backtracking. And the reason why I'm actually mentioning this to you guys or sharing it with you, it is so bizarre that an auto insurance was telling me about getting pre-authorization, because normally, something like this you will hear in a healthcare a healthcare field. If you're happen to be in the healthcare profession, in dealing with insurance, you'll be aware of this kind of stuff, getting pre-authorized before you actually see the doctor, or before you see, like a doctor that's like have a certain specialty, like a cardiologist, or let's say anesthesiologist or something like that. Things needs to get pre-authorized, right, before you can move forward. So when she told me that this particular claim is actually closed, you know what I ended up doing? Long story short, I went back to the customer just to give her hints that she might be liable to pay for this. But seriously, folks, for 175, because it's been like 3, 4, wow, it's almost a year actually. You know what I mean? It's almost a year. If I'm not able to collect that 175 from the customer, I'm not going to go cry about it, and I'm not going to have hurt feelings about it, because partly it was also my fault. I got so busy and I put it in the back burner. Yeah, back burner, thinking that I can always call the insurance that we normally deal with, and they're always going to pay. They're always good for their money. But this is a different scenario. So just, just know that something out there, as far as auto insurance, depending on who's the insurance company, they usually also probably require pre-authorization. Now, what's the difference between companies that wants a pre-authorization and the companies that actually just know that they need to pay no matter what? Okay, we're going to that now. um, let's see here. I'm going to open my notes because I'm going to go over what I'm going to talk about. Let's see. Okay, my 7 tips. The first one on how to talk to insurance companies. Number one, ask the right questions and know who to look for regarding the claim. That's very important. Okay, when I get a claim in front of me or a customer with their information, I'm like thinking, okay, how am I gonna tackle this, this call before I make the call, right? Because you can't just call and think that everything's going to go smoothly. It never does. Remember, especially when you're dealing with big companies, you know what I mean? They do this day in and day out. The minute you start talking to them, they're already reading you or evaluating you, and depending on what you're saying, they can tell whether you're experienced or not. Now, it's always better, this is my advice, to come prepared, because if you don't come prepared, they're going to think that you don't know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing or you're new to this, they're going to take advantage of you. So for me, I always study what's in front of me, and I'm always like thinking and playing it out on my head, how this phone call is going to go, what are the questions I'm going to ask, who I'm going to look for to make sure that I'm getting somewhere, because I always make every phone call count. And what that means, I mean, that's just me. What that means for me is that I don't want to make a phone call, but then I didn't resolve anything, or to me, it wasn't a productive phone call because I didn't get the information that I need, whether uh, whether trying to find out who's the claim adjuster, or who I need to speak with to get the claim approved or expedited. So usually I study it, and then if it's an insurance company that I've never heard of, like obviously we know big ones, right? Such as let's see here, Progressive Insurance. I mean, that's one of the big ones. Mercury Insurance, or even State Farm or Farmers Insurance. Those are the big ones, right? But if it's an insurance company that I've never heard of, then usually I'm thinking it's probably a small company. I mean, it would be wise, to research online or Google who's the company, how long they've been in business, dot, dot, dot. If I have time, I would do it. But most of the time, because I'm thinking, hey, I can handle this. I know how to talk to people. I usually don't, because I've been doing with people for so long, and I know how to communicate with them. Depending, it doesn't matter whether it's insurance company or it's just regular business professionals, but I'm always prepared. So, and I always gather my information. So that way, when I'm in a conversation already with the insurance company, maybe it's the customer service that I'm in the phone call with, or maybe it's the claim adjuster. I treat those two different, and my approach will be probably different, right? So I usually gather as much information as I can gather about the claim, as well as the customer, and what's the story behind it, the date of loss, all that stuff, right? But if they say they have a claim number, then that's a different story. They actually did the big stuff for you. I think you just need to follow up, right? So I actually have one right now that's like pending, and I didn't have this case right away. It's actually Mike and my front office lady that was handling it. But the only reason why I injected or interjected myself into this is because after I heard my front office lady talking to the claim adjuster, I was like, wait a minute. This conversation is not going the way it should be, you know, the way it should be. So she's going to need help. And so what I ended up doing is that I, I'm like, I decided to take over. And then from then on, I got it going. Now, folks, I don't want to get into the details, but I'm going to tell you how much of a nightmare this is. Normally, when there's a date of loss and there's a claim open already, probably the longest you can get the customer's vehicle in and start the process is probably like between 2 to 3 weeks, right? Now, if it goes more longer than that, that means that your chances of getting this repair done is like probably like 40 to 60%. Now this is my opinion, of course. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when I get a claim in front of me and I start dealing with it right away, you know, um, I usually give it like a time period. Let's say I have like a week deadline, or if it goes to 2 weeks deadline, depending on the situation, then I'm still good. But once it goes to 3 weeks and then the 4 weeks and then going to 5 weeks, I'm starting to get nervous. And the reason being is because I'm like, wow, the way I'm looking at it, it's like the longer this claim is open, the less chances I'm going to like get this thing done, or we're going to get paid, or we're going to get paid the amount that we quoted it for. So, as much as possible, I tried to not keep it that long, like 4 weeks. But this claim is, it's been over 4 weeks. And I think it's because in the beginning, I was leaving my front office lady to handle it and take care of it. And then after, obviously, I overheard the conversation. I interjected myself and I said, you know what, let me help you. And then right away, I wanted to find out, what's going on. I got some orientation of what's happening. And then I looked at the paperwork, which is the document. And then I was like, wow, the date of loss is like about over a month ago. So I'm like, wow. So I made sure that the communication in our shop is like, it's like always open and also effective, open communication and effective. So right away, I like started, training her and teaching her on how to talk to people. This is why I'm covering this. Okay. So when I say ask the right questions and know who to look for regarding the claim, if you already know that you have a claim number, you know for sure that there's a claim adjusters assigned to it. And if that's the case, then you need to find out who that claim adjuster is. In this case, according to my lady, my front office lady, she said, this is a gentleman who's handling it, but I can't get a hold of him because his extension number doesn't work. So every time she calls, she ends up doing press this, press that. And so she was getting the runaround. And I didn't know that was happening because maybe in the past when she was making the phone call to this particular insurance company, I wasn't there. I'm always in and out of the office. I come in because I drop off the kids at summer camp, and then after that, I stay there probably until 2 or 3, depending on what's on my agenda for the day. Then I leave, and then I'm in and out. But it's just so happened that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take over now because I can see that she's struggling with it, and she's not as experienced on as far as how she needs to deal with this particular issue, as well as talking to people that are very experienced. And believe me, you will deal with claim adjusters that are very experienced that can make it hard for you. And that's what I'm trying to like minimize and troubleshoot here. In this case, This particular insurance company, by the way, folks, it's not a big insurance company. As a matter of fact, I don't want to name the company, but it's a military insurance company. So I just found that out after I asked my lady. I said, Liz, I've never heard of this insurance company before. Do me a favor, find out where they are. Because at that time, I'm also multitasking, doing some stuff. So I'm having her do my stuff and I'm directing her on how to research things. And so she gave me a report. I think it was like, was it early this week or was it, because like today's Wednesday? I think late last week or early this week, probably as early as Monday this week, that I found out it's a military insurance company. So right away, I knew, I'm like, oh man, no wonder they're working so slow. It's like, you know, the run around and, probably a lot of red tapes and all that stuff. And the only reason why I prompt her to do some research for me who this company is because after making several phone calls, I found out that this insurance company outsourced their claim adjuster service. So they have a third party company that they deal with for outside claim adjuster on top of having in-house claim adjuster. And then on top of that, they also outsource the appraiser, appraiser service. So what that means is that they hired an outside company to do their appraisal. you know I was like, before you even like get an estimate, right? So I was like, wait a minute, there's so many like companies involved on this. So there's this one big company dealing with third party that's doing their appraisal for any repair of their clients. And then they also have claim adjusters that are also a third party. They call it an outside claim adjusters that they deal with, as well as they have an in-house claim adjusters. So there's so many things involved here. And I was getting a headache thinking about it because I thought it would just be an easy thing where I deal with the one claim adjuster that's in-house and then we're just going to go back and forth with it and then it's done. But what made it hard was I have to track down um, who's the actual person that I need to talk to get this claim going because it's been over a month. And so I started with the claim adjuster, right? They have an 800 number. So I talked to them. There's no assigned claim adjuster on this particular claim. Maybe that's how they do their process, as far as the company process. So nobody can tell me who's the person that I need to talk to. And then on top of that, they said, well, you need to upload the documentation into our system, but it's only this way. And I was like, whoa, okay. Then with that, they also said before we can actually move forward, this is, by the way, folks, the claim adjuster talking to me. They said before we can move forward with this, we want our CCC1 to look at it first. I guess I'm trying to, from me trying to analyze this and trying to figure out how their process works, is that once things is uploaded in the system, then CC1 will look at it to see everything is good to go before it gets to the claim adjuster department to cut the check. And then before we can get like an approval to go ahead and bring the customer in for the repair. Wow. It's like almost like going in so many circles. Oh, it's such a headache. So, and I'm still dealing with it, but I did get far, folks. You know how I got far? Because I was able to get an approval for the repair, but only half of it. So now I'm sending the supplemental. And then even with that, it was also a challenge. And since we're already in this story, before I move on to the next point that I want to mention here, I'm going to go ahead and finish this story so that way you guys can remember my story. And then when you're dealing with a customer that has an insurance like this, then just remember Mary, because maybe the reason why you guys are probably having a hard time too is because maybe you guys are going to be in the same, predicament in the future that I'm in right now. But anyway, so once I found out that I need to turn in the supplement, um, they also throw this twist at me. They said, "Oh, because you are not what do you call this? An approved, they call it an approved provider for us, then you cannot just upload this on the link that we normally send you guys. You have to fax it to us." Okay, so I'm like, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Time out, time out, time out. You're telling me I cannot just fax it to you. I mean, I cannot just like email it to you or scan it to you via email. I have to actually fax it like the good old days, faxing. I mean, believe it or not, a lot of companies still use it. You still use this process, by the way, folks. And maybe there's a reason why, right? But anyways, so she wanted me to fax this. And then I have to ask the right question. I'm like, if I don't fax it, am I gonna have a delay as far as getting the supplemental approved? So that way we can move forward with the customer coming in, me scheduling the customer to come in for the repair. And she said yes. Now, folks, it's very, very important to ask the right questions, because if you don't ask the right questions, you're going to go in circle with insurance company. They're not going to overshare. They're not going to share you what you need to do. Sometimes they're not going to share you everything, right? Also, you also have to understand not everyone is detailed. Maybe someone like me, I'm a very, very detailed person, and I pay attention to everything, because I'm a problem solver. But then there are other people out there, that's totally opposite of me. And so if that person happened to be a claim adjuster that is explaining to you what you need to do as far as, getting your claim approved or expediting it, if they're not telling you everything, then something's going to be amiss. Then you're going to be on a longer period of waiting again, and then probably like wondering why it's taking a long time. So to expedite it and to make sure that you're going to get paid on time, you really need to ask the right questions. So after I found out that faxing the supplemental form or estimate to them will expedite and help me as far as getting my claim approved, or supplemental approved, then I was like, okay, this is money. I can finally breathe and relax a little bit. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna stop here and pause. Hi, Joshua. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'm glad that you guys are joining us. I'm glad that I'm just here yakking away and giving, like basically sharing you guys my story with insurance company that I'm dealing with this week and last week. The claim's been open for like, I don't know, over a month now, but it was just last week that I jumped in it and kind of helped my front office lady as far as this customer and the claim. So anyways, so me asking the right question, I was like, wow, okay, now I can move forward. And actually, the first estimate we gave the insurance company, they approve half of it. Then for the other half, I have to provide a supplemental estimate. And that's what I just did today. I had to fax it, by the way. Never heard of it before, about faxing rather than emailing. I thought emailing was faster, but I guess they want it fax. So moving on my second tip, my second tip is look at the reasons of why the claim, excuse me, guys, hold on. It's kind of hot here. I forgot to turn on the air conditioning. Okay, so my second My second tip here is that look at the reasons of why the claim has been delayed or not getting paid. Well, the story I told you guys of why this particular claim delayed is because I found out that that there's so many company involved with this insurance company, and I don't want to name what insurance company it is because I want to, give them their privacy, right? So, anyways, this insurance company is dealing with a lot of third party, and so between the two third parties that I dealt with so far, everything was going in circle. And so since I got involved, I got the ball rolling and kind of expedited the whole process of getting the claim approved. And now we got half of it as far as our, we got half of it approved. Now we just need to get the other half approved so that way we can bring in the customer. So the reason why I'm actually giving you guys this advice as far as looking at the reason of why has the claim, hasn't been moving forward, or why is there a delay. I think between Mike and my front office lady, because basically she assigned it to my front office lady. I'm referring to Mike, and she's just reporting to Mike. And I don't know what transpired between those two, but somehow after 3 weeks, they're getting nowhere. And my front office lady is not looking into this as like, oh, okay, why is this claim taking so long? And not only that, it's not fair and it's not nice for this process to drag on for the customer, which in this case, I'm just going to call her Miriam. Her name is Miriam. So when I made the phone call, when I took over and made the phone call, I asked for the right people to talk to. And then when I got the right people, then I explained to the claim adjuster that, look, this claim has been dragging on for over a month now, and it's just not fair for the customer. Because if you are, and then, you kind of like put the, I guess, I shouldn't say, I want to pick the right word because I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to say it and make it sound like a mean or something. But you know what? I'm just going to say it again. I'm just going to say it because I can't, on top of my head, I can't pick the proper word right now. For me, sometimes I would, use certain things or certain tactic to kind of like make them feel guilty. So I kind of like use a scenario of making an example. So I told the claim adjuster, look, if you're in her shoe, I'm referring to Miriam. She's, by the way, our customer, which is their clients, right? Or their member. I I told the claim adjuster, if you're in her shoe, you would be upset too if your claim's been dragging on and it's been a month and you still haven't, had a chance to repair your vehicle. Because by 4 weeks, your vehicle should have been repaired. But in this case, we're still waiting. So I kind of like told that to the claim adjuster, and I think it works, because she said, yeah, I get it. And then so, talking to her, she's more willing to help me. And then she's more willing to, and obviously asking the right questions, she's more willing to share more, as far as the process in order for hold on, folks, somebody's calling me. Okay, hold on. It's my technician. Sorry. God. Anyway, as far as the process, the claim adjuster was willing to help me to also help me expedite it, because when I was talking to her, I kind of like conveyed or communicated with her that there's an urgency on this claim or on this repair because it's just dragging on and it's not okay. And she gets me. I mean, most of the time they're very nice when I deal with them because of you know, I talk to them appropriately. I try not to lose my temper until I need to, right? So anyways, so she was able to like share more and kind of like guide me of uh like what I need to do next. And doing it this way too, folks, by the way, it's like a conversation and getting some pointers of where, what's the next step to take. It's kind of like giving you also an idea of how their business works or how they operate, or how they can help you. I mean, how they can help you qualify or expedite the claim so it can get approved. So make sure that you understand what's causing the delay or why it's getting denied. If you did get a denial, you know what I mean? So let's move to my third tip here, folks. Let's see here. Understand the insurance company's business model in order to understand their process. Ooh, I sounded like English right there, with an English accent. In order to understand. In order to understand. Oh, okay. My Filipino accent's coming out. And people are trying to get a hold of me, folks. I think it's my technician, my kid, my front door. But anyways, okay. So what is the third tip mean? Understand the insurance company's business model in order to understand their process. Well, if you don't know their process, then your chances of getting your claim approved or to expedite it is going to be like probably slow, or or you might not get approved at all. And the fact that we are not I'm going to give, this is an example, okay? We are, with the story I told earlier, the fact that we are not an approved facility for the insurance company that I was dealing with this week, most likely I had a feeling that the claim adjuster that was talking to my front office lady was giving her the cold shoulder or trying to like, I guess, give her a hard time because she literally told me that somebody communicated with her from the insurance company that, hey, if you're not an approved facility, then most likely your repair, the customer's repair at your facility is not going to get approved because she needs to go. They were trying to direct her to go to an approved facility that they have approved for. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh man, I was like this, kind of pulling my hair. Ooh, I was like, okay, we are not an approved facility. There's only two choices here for me, okay? Either I'm going to find out how to get approved from this company so that way we can be on their list of an approved facility, or I wonder if there's a way that I can still work on this case without having to resort to getting approved. And then the next question I had in my head was, is that even possible? Or do I really need to be an approved facility for them in order for them to work with me? Right? So these are the questions that was going through my head. In order for me to solve my problems, I have to have some of these questions answered. So I asked the right questions. Again, folks, ask the right questions. I said, okay, if we are not your approved facility for your members, do I have this is the question I asked her. Do I have to be an approved facility? If so, then what is the process here? What do I need to do on my end? And how long would this take? Because I wanna see in the big picture how long this process would take. So that way I can make a decision whether it's worth it for me to pursue this particular customer's claim. in this scenario, I call it a case, right? So she told me that luckily she answered, right? Luckily, the claim adjuster answered me and said, no, you don't have to be an approved facility by us. But if that's the case, we just need to make sure that your quote that you're going to send us, it's something that is already been reviewed by the CCC1. I was like, oh, okay, cool. In that case, how do I, this is again the next question I ask her, how do I get this expedited to the to CCC1, as well as what are the requirements that CCC1 is looking for? Now, if you guys are wondering who is CCC1, there's three C's there, I think. Who is CCC1? I had to ask the question, right? um, I said, what are the requirements? Because I want to, like I said, I want to tackle this problem appropriately and effectively. If I don't, then I'm going to be in the waiting period again, and I'm done waiting. I just want to get this going and get it over with, close the case. That's it. You know what I mean? Or close the claim. That's it. So she's willing to share some information. So she kind of told me, this is what you need to do because this is what they're looking for. But if you don't, if you obviously, she kind of like communicated and gave me a hint that if you don't do it this way, then there's might be a delay. So therefore, just know that this could happen if, because she told me that since that you're not an approved facility by us, you can still get this. You can still work on this and get it going and still get approved. But there's a way to do it. I guess faxing the supplement to them. But she did tell me, and she kind of reiterated before we hung up and end the call, that there might be a delay if you go this route, which is faxing the document to them. I'm referring to the CCC1. And I was like, you know what? Thanks for letting me know. At least I know, and I can see it in the big picture now, that I can actually have some kind of a timeline that, hey, this is not going to be just like a two-day turnaround. It's not going to be a 3-day turnaround. Possibly it could be a week turnaround from the time that I turn in my supplemental estimate via fax. It's probably going to take a week before I hear from CCC1 or from the insurance company. So this is why it's important to understand the insurance company's business model in order to understand their process. Because at the end of the day, folks, you're trying to learn how to get your claim going and how to get approved, right? So you need to know what are the requirements and what their process. Now, I'm moving on to number 4, guys, because it is almost, it's past 40 minutes here. So number 4, speak their own lingo in order to speak their own language. Okay. I think I covered that already. Speaking their own lingo. When I said speaking their own lingo, meaning that not literally speaking their terminology, because lingo is another name, is like a terminology, right? So when I actually did a podcast about insurance with Jack, I think you guys know Jack Bucknell. Hi, Jack. Hopefully you listen to this, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but I did mention you. So anyways, when I did a podcast, or I did an episode with Jack, I did kind of like gave him an advice that when you're dealing with insurance company, you have to speak their own lingo. Oh, their lingo, by the way. And the reason why I said this is because I'm not talking about just speaking their own terminology. I'm also talking about what it is that you can communicate with them effectively in order for you to understand and to be in the same frequency as far as communication. Because folks, communication, I'm going to tell you, when someone is talking, someone is receiving that information. and it depends on who the person is. If the person is good at communication and receiving and decoding the information appropriately, then two people will be communicating effectively. But for the most part, if someone is talking to you and you guys are not in the same frequency because you are not decoding the information correctly as to what the person is telling you, then there will always be a miscommunication. And if there's a miscommunication, in this case would be the insurance scenario, then you'll go in circle. And I think that's what happened with my front office lady. She doesn't know how to communicate with them. Don't get me wrong, I think the insurance company is communicating to her the appropriately and the right way. Maybe she's receiving it not in a way how she should be receiving the information, because she was stuck. She was just going in circle. So it's very, very important to speak their lingo. And I'm not just referring to the insurance company's own terminology, but also to make sure that you guys are in the same frequency as far as communication. So you can move forward and expedite your claim here as far as getting approved. Now, number 5. I think we're on number 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we're on number 5. While I talk to insurance company, whether it's the customer service rep, whether it's the a person appraising the car, doing the estimate, whether it's the claim adjusters, well, usually only one claim adjuster. Well, in this case, the last one, they didn't have any particular one assigned. So I talked to a lot of claim adjusters, you know, in regards to Miriam's case. Probably I talked to 4 different ones. Every time I call, there's never it's never the same person. It's always a different person. That's why I always ask, please document this so that way I don't have to tell the story from the beginning again, because I don't want to have to keep repeating the story from the get-go. You know what I mean? So when I talk to a claim adjuster, I usually have a notepad in front of me and a pen, and I'm taking notes and I'm taking their names. I'm taking basically their names, the date of who I spoke, the date that I called them and who I spoke with. And also, let me see here, what their roles in the company. So let me repeat that. Take detailed notes of people you spoke with as far as insurance company, and also understand what are the people's roles in the company. Because a customer service rep role in a company is going to be different than claim adjuster. It's going to be different than, let me see this, repair appraisal, right? Repair appraiser. It's going to be different. So you need to make sure what their roles are, so that way you know how to talk to each of them differently and how you can get your issue resolved. Now, I'm going to move to number 6. Tip number 6. Know what the insurance law in your state and your client's rights. That's a big one, folks. I'm going to repeat it again, okay? Know what your insurance law in your state and what your client's rights in that state. Now, why am I saying this? The reason why I'm saying this is because if you are very familiar with your insurance law in your state, as well as your clients or your customers' right, as far as their insurance, then I think it would be better for you. So when you are trying to get the claim paid or trying to get the claim approved or even expediting it, it will be it would be best for you if you know or very familiar with the law, because you can use this as a leverage to kind of go back and forth with and negotiate, right? Like, for example, I'm going to give you an example of my client, Miriam. I'm going to use her again as an example. Um, she basically, you know, she basically didn't know that she have a right in the state of California to go to any body shop or any auto repair to get her car repair. Now, I think also my front office lady, the reason why she's probably getting nowhere with the insurance company is because one, she didn't, she's inexperienced as far as dealing with people. Second, she's very inexperienced as far as dealing with people in the insurance business. So she didn't know how to talk to them, as well as she didn't know the law that in California, a customer or an insurance member can go to any auto repair and get their car repaired, not necessarily the approved facility of that insurance company. They can go anywhere, and that's within their rights to get their car repair. It doesn't matter if it's XYZ company that they want to get their car repair, or it's an approved facility that their insurance company approve. If the client wants to get their car repair at a particular body shop or auto repair company, in this case, us folks, that's actually their right. And so when I explained this to my front office lady, now she's well informed. Now she can use that as a leverage to negotiate and back and forth with the claim adjuster. Because what the claim adjuster was telling her, I think he was trying to like steer her to having the notion of this thing's going to get denied and not going to get approved, by telling her that, hey, because you guys are not an approved facility by our insurance company, that the chances of you getting this claim approved for the repair at your facility is probably going to be very low. And if it's going to be approved, then it's going to be very, very a long process. It's going to drag on. I mean, literally, she told me that somebody communicated with her something into this effect. I don't know the wording verbatim anymore, but something into this effect. Then that's what got me going to like, oh man, you know what? From then on, I'm going to be dealing with them. I'm going to make sure that this thing is going to get approved from beginning to end and then in a short period of time. And sure enough, within 1 week, I got half of it approved, and I'm just needing to get the other half approved. So I use that a lot of times when I deal with insurance company, when they're trying to argue with me that, hey, you know what, I want my member or my client to go to this facility because it's going to be better for her. They're going to do a better, I don't know, repair appraisal for her, for her car, or because we work with this company. They give you all sorts of excuses. Don't fall for that, folks. Don't fall for that. All I'm telling you is that you need to make sure that you know the law as far as what your client's right in your state as far as auto insurance. Now, last but not least, I can't believe we're almost an hour into this. Last but not least, my last tip for you folks is don't piss them off unless you want them to deny your customer's auto claim. I said something about this earlier. In the beginning, when I deal with insurance company, I'm usually polite. I'm usually like, I keep my cool. But when I know that they're trying to pull a fast one on me, or they're trying to treat me like they think I'm a fool or I'm stupid, then yes, I'm going to get annoyed. I'm going to get upset. But even with that, for the sake of, I think that's the right word here. I picked my word wisely here, or I chose my word wisely here. For the sake of this claim for the customers, on the behalf of the customer, I'm gonna sometimes eat my pride and keep my cool and not react if they are confrontational. Because that claim adjuster that was talking to my front office lady, he was very, very confrontational. And so, man, it's almost like you want to like rebuttal and say something mean, right? If they are like saying something that is not nice or that's not polite. But I always remind myself, don't do it, Mary. Don't do it. You know why? Because you're trying to get this claim approved. And if you become confrontational, you might, you might create an enemy in that company. And you don't want to do that. As much as possible, just think of the customer that you're helping. And so you want to just move forward and, don't take it personal, I guess. Be the big person and don't, you know, I have never dealt with somebody who's like kind of insulting, but I have dealt with people that are actually trying to manipulate and trying to tell me stuff that they think that I don't know anything about. But that's why it's better to come prepared when you do make that call to the insurance company and you're going to be dealing with customer service as well as the claim adjuster. You need to make sure that you're prepared. And the beauty about writing down notes is that the next time you call, you can review your notes before you call. So just in case there's a new person that you're dealing with, you can always like give them a little report, you know what I mean, of what's going on. So that way they're up to par with the information. Okay, folks. I just kind of like yacked away for an hour here. I hope my 7 tips of, let's see here, 7 tips of how to talk to insurance company. I hope that helped you guys a lot. I mean, I know some of you folks talked about, hey, we have a system, we have the program, or we have the app. If you just use the proper app, there's no problem, they're going to approve you. But that's not the case all the time, folks, with insurance company. Even though you're using their own, app or your own platform, I mean, their own platform to make sure that, hey, this thing is foolproof, going to get approved, something's always bound to happen. Like some problems will arise, and sometimes things go haywire as you planned, right? So these are just my tips. You can never go wrong with having more information. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm probably gonna see you guys, let's see here, 2 weeks from now. Let's see. I'm going to turn my calendar because I know I'm traveling here. So hold on, folks. Actually, yeah, I'm going to probably see you guys 2 weeks from now. And it's not going to be a live video. I'm gonna have to think about this for now because I'm dropping off my son to college. So therefore, I have to figure out my schedule here. But whatever it is, I appreciate you listening to my episode today, and I hope it helped you guys. Now remember, my next episode is gonna be big, and it's gonna be more informative because I'm gonna teach you guys how to set your square equipment on your front office. So for those folks who have a shop, I know in our PDR industry, some people are, mobile, and some people actually have a shop. But for those people that have a shop, or even actually even the mobile one, if you have people that work for you that's actually doing a mobile job, you need to set up your people on merchant services, right? So I'm going to teach you guys on how to do that. So don't forget, tune in next time. Until next time, thank you. Good night.